Date. One of his employees enters his room to try to help, but Lou drains all her energy and becomes stronger again. At the hospital, Rick receives a visit from Jill. Returns home extremely sad, but on the way, he meets a mysterious man. His name is Charles Xavier. He is the mysterious person who contacted the young man a few days ago. He tells Rick that he has the power to read minds and will help him become a hero. Xavier takes the young man to his school for mutants, a place where several students have special powers. Some have more common abilities, such as elasticity, while others have insane powers, such as a young man who, with just one sneeze, can exterminate anyone in front of him. During the tour of the school, the young man meets some very famous personalities, such as Wolverine, Storm, and the Invisible Woman. The young man also meets Mrs. Xavier, who tells him that the first step to becoming a superhero is to make his own costume. Rick returns home and begins his creation, spending days in his room until the suit is finished. Trey goes to visit him and thinks it's amazing, but the young man forgot to put vents in his costume and could see practically nothing. After making the necessary adjustments, Rick goes to the top of a after. The member of the Fantastic Quartet decides to demonstrate his incredible ability. When he says, "Flame on," his whole body is engulfed in fire, but he ends up reporting that it's too hot and quickly panics. Rick tries to help and even grabs a fire extinguisher, but his methods definitely don't work. After that, Rick decides to exploit his Dragonfly powers. He jumps off the building, but realizes that he can't fly. As the days went by, Empire City began to recognize the acts of bravery of the city's new superhero. Dragonfly saves people soon. On hearing this, the executive thinks of a plan and says he'll put it into practice soon. In the city, Rick realizes that his version of the hero is becoming extremely popular. He sees in a newspaper publication that they are paying for photos of the Dragonfly, so the young man goes to the place to get some money. When he arrives in the newsroom, he is greeted by an extremely authoritarian and explosive man. However, this was just a patient from the mental hospital. The real boss of the newspaper enters the room and explains everything to the young man, as they share the same building with a mental hospital. Rick shows him some photos of Dragonfly, but the man explains that he wants photos of the superhero in action. At the university, the police are surprised by the appearance of a new villain, calling himself Hourglass, whose aim is to drain the life out of as many people as possible. Dragonfly arrives at the university and starts the confrontation by throwing a powerful punch at the villain. They then start a physical fight, but both end up being stunned during the clash. Hourglass uses his titanium blades against Dragonfly. The hero tries to dodge the shots, but ends up being hit by all of them. The villain says he won't let his opponent spoil his plans, so he destroys a wall and flees the scene. Rick goes to see his friend perform, but ends up arriving late. Shortly afterwards, Jill asks him if he's hiding something, but Rick holds back and says he has nothing to say. Jill says goodbye to her friend and heads home. On the way, she is approached by several criminals and even tries to run away, but ends up cornered in an alley. When there is nowhere left to run, Jill is saved by Dragonfly. The hero finishes off the bandits in a few seconds with his incredible strength. The young woman thanks the hero with a kiss, and then he returns to help the citizens of Empire City. A few days later, Jill helps Rick's aunt prepare a special dinner. She and her boyfriend Lance are going to keep the old lady company. A few minutes later, Lance finds Jill and tells her that his uncle is also coming for dinner. Rick's aunt doesn't mind the man to call him. However, Landers volunteers to go there and look for the young man.